then try to get a job. He just.
Would everyone please stand, please? Loveland Symmes Fire Department Honor Guard is going to present colors, and then we'll do a pledge, followed by a short invocation, and get this meeting started.
Right face. Breathe in.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for the opportunity to come together to deliberate business on behalf of Symmes Township. Thank You for this opportunity, and we ask that You lead us and guide us to make the right and appropriate decisions for the best outcome for our township residents. Amen.
Amen.
Order. Left face. Forward.
You can be seated.
Roll call.
Mr. Bryan? Here. Ms. Lees?
Here.
Mr. Beck?
Here.
I would like to change the agenda this evening. I would like to move the presentation by the fire department up before approval of minutes.
Second.
Okay. Then I move approval of the revised agenda.
That would be a second.
Yes. And roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Mr. Bryan?
Aye. Okay.
Thank you, Board. We appreciate the opportunity to be before you this evening to present to the township some really good news about their fire and EMS service. When the township was formed back in the 1700s, a long time ago, the fire protection in Symmes Township was very limited to a few people along the Little Miami River who had leather buckets that they used, and they were distributed throughout the area that we know as Twy-Twee and Camp Denniston. And those were distributed to some homeowners there, and then eventually a ladder was purchased so that they could get to the two-story homes. So for many years, unorganized fire protection was done as a volunteer effort by the community to protect their neighbors. Everyone in the community in Symmes Township was required to answer the bell for the alarm with their bucket and to assist saving their neighbors' homes and barns during that time. In 1885, the first official organized fire company was established here in Symmes Township. It was called the Little Miami Steam and Engine Company. It was located in Loveland, Ohio, on the banks of the Little Miami River, right across the river from Symmes Township. So from a lot of people don't know, when you were in the city of Loveland, if you were on the Claremont County side of town, you were in Miami Township. If you crossed the bridge, you were into Hamilton County, you were in Symmes Township. And that was that way until the village was incorporated many, many years after that. So in 1885, the first organized fire company, the Miami Steam and Engine Company, which is the same fire department you have today. That fire company was then organized and reorganized in 1939. In 1939, it became the Loveland Community Fire Department. And the reason for that is that fire protection was needed outside of the village limits. And so the community fire department was established. Symmes Township paid $500 to establish this fire department along with Miami Township. And at that time, fire protection was very broad or very wide response area for the fire company. We covered all of Deerfield Township, Goshen Township, Miami Township, Symmes Township. So it was a very large response area. Of course, most of that was farmland. So there were actually 2 fire trucks that sat in the fire station. There was a 1938 Ford that was named the city truck, and there was a 1938 Ford that was called the community truck. So if the fire was in the community truck would respond, and if the fire was in the city fire truck would respond. Shortly after that, the city dissolved the city fire department, and it all maintained the community fire department and established that together. And that fire department continued to cover Symmes Township until 1989. The board of Burris, Buckman, and Berger was here as township trustees, and they decided to take matters into their own hands and ensure that the township had adequate fire protection, as did the residents by passing their fire levies. They subsequently, and the elected officials here, they built the first fire station in Remington to cover the southern end of the township and to also cover Camp Dennison. Then they built this safety center here to cover the northern end of the township. And in 1989, they made an agreement with the fire department in the city of Loveland to change it to the Loveland Symmes Fire Department, again, which is the same fire department you have today. So you've seen a level of fire commitment by this township that's been on precedence all the way back from the 1700s, and then the proud fact that you've been able to maintain the same fire company since 1885. I think that speaks well to the township for that history, and I think it speaks well to the township residents that they take their fire protection and now EMS protection very serious. They have supported the levies that support the fire and EMS. The township officials have ensured that they've spent those dollars wisely to maintain that fire service, and because of that, you have now been able to not only have a nationally accredited fire department, a nationally accredited paramedic service, but now you have the highest and best ISO rating that a community can receive. And so that's what we're here tonight to actually officially present to the township trustees their official ISO 1 rating from the Insurance Services Agency, and to pass that on to our township residents that we appreciate their support. And I think that this award is as much for the township residents as it is for anyone. So with that, I'd ask the color guard to present the award.
Should we come down?
Yes.
Present. Mark.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sweet, off you all.
Kim, can you get us?
Order. Arms.
Okay, thank you. Gentlemen, on behalf of Symmes Township trustees, we are extremely pleased to accept this award, and we will cherish it. Thank you.
And we know how much hard work it is to get this rating, and we appreciate everything that we've done to get that.
And we are very proud of the men and women of Loveland Symmes Fire Department. Thank you.
Right. Face.
anyone who wishes to see this, feel free to come up. We have a box for it, and I'll put it in the box when we're all done looking at it. So, thank you very much, Chief and Honor Guard.
That was a great presentation.
Next on our agenda, I move approval of minutes. First, regular meeting minutes for April 6, 2021. We'll go individually.
I thought we'd do them all at once.
Okay, we'll do them all at once. Secondly, the work session meeting minutes for April 22nd. And third, the special meeting minutes for April 29th, 2021.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Beck,
Aye.
Mr. Bryant,
Aye.
Ms. Lees.
Aye.
We will now hear the fiscal officer's report for April.
We received real estate taxes for the first half totaling $4,773,710.06. I passed out sheets of the fund balances. The major fund balances, though, that I usually report were the general fund at $2,592,645.83. The police funds at $232,836.01. Fire at $644,260.99. EMS at $531,641.65, and the Safety Services Fund at $2,714,380.16. The bank balances, our HSA account, we are now totally with Fifth Third Bank. We no longer have any accounts with PNC Bank. And we have a working account at Fifth Third and an HSA account. Our HSA account stood at $8,188.40. And I just moved $30,000 to reestablish a higher level. That's drawn from anytime any does their health card swaps. The working checking account contains $6,370,204.09. We received a email from the Board of County Commissioners at Hamilton County, their new budget director, notifying us that the county has never paid Symmes Township from 2016 a total of $31,062 that was approved by the Board of County Commissioners for the 2016 road resurfacing project. I talked to Bill Pittman, who got the notice, and he tells me that he filled out the completed work forms for that project along with the invoices for the jobs and turned them over to Carol Symmes, our previous fiscal officer. And we don't know what happened in between, but either the township didn't get it or the township misplaced it. Anyhow, we asked if that can be rolled into current repaving funds that we have now, and we haven't heard back from them yet. In any event, we'll get the money. It's just been delayed, that's all. I think that was it.
Okay. Moving on, unless there's any questions?
No.
Okay. No public hearings. I move approval of disbursements. Warrants number 79,296 through 79,430, and vouchers number 80 through 115 in the amount of $624,722.33.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bryant,
Aye.
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
Now hear reports. Anything from the law director?
No report tonight.
Police? Lieutenant Tarr?
Am I on?
Yes.
Mic on? Good. Nothing other than I just wanted to remind people as we get into the warmer months, and especially since a lot of people didn't travel last year, we do offer vacation residence checks. So if you're going to be out of town and would like the deputies to stop by your residence periodically to make sure anything's okay, just let us know. You can call here Monday through Friday during business hours, and that's 513-683-3444, or you can call over to patrol headquarters 24 hours a day. That's 513-825-1500, and they'll just ask you for some basic information when you're leaving, when you'll be back, if anyone might have a key or things like that. So,
Okay, and you are on reduced COVID protocol?
technically, yes. I don't know that those were ever lifted, but we're still not responding to some things like EMS runs unless they don't need things, but we're back pretty much in business.
Okay, good to hear.
As far as I think the general public would
Okay.
understand or notice.
Chief Huber.
Thank you, Board. I'll be presenting a letter tomorrow to the administrator and to the fiscal officer. The property at 7930 Daniel Street has fulfilled their requirements under the ORC. The house has been demolished and the debris has been removed. So they'll be able to put it on the next agenda for the trustees to authorize the release of those funds back to the property owner. So it proves that program works, and the township won't have any outlay for that. So that project has been completed. They took a little while because their EPA permits were a little slow coming back from the EPA, but I went and checked it and looked at the property again today myself, and it looks like they're already looking at constructing something new there. We see a lot of markings going on, so that's been taken care of. Other than that, I have nothing else to report.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Director of Public Works, do you have anything to feed through?
No report
Okay. Any committee reports to come before the board? Hearing none, moving on. Any other?
Other than to note, since our last regular meeting, we've had 2 special meetings. We had the April 22nd work session, as well as the April 29th special meeting.
Okay. You want to tell anybody what that was all about? We're
Well-
looking, go ahead.
Just briefly, like the work session, for example, April 22nd, we were talking about just more or less brainstorming on Blong Park, and the April 29th, and then we also were talking about administrative, potential sharing of administrative resources. April 29th, special meeting was hearing from insurance brokers. We need to re-up the insurance in August, so we do this from time to time, shopping the insurance industry.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, now open the meeting for the hearing from residents. The only ask is you come to the podium, announce your name and address, and then have at whatever topic is that you'd like to bring before the board.
Anyone?
Good evening, C.J. Carr, Symmes Township Historical Society. I'd like to start off, I've got a handout. We had discussed previously some issues with the
Just one?
Just
Yeah,
one.
thank you.
Thank you.
with the treated shakes that were put on the roof of the log house there and with them deteriorating. Architectural Reclamation is the company that did the reconstruction of the log house and also installed the treated shingles on the roof. They were out in February. Susan from Architectural Reclamation has tried, and it's noted in her letter here, to get a hold of this company that has made these shingles, and to the best that she can find out is they're out of business. They are currently working on putting a price together for us and she's noted in here a couple of different types of composite shingles that can be replaced on a roof so that it can look better. The structure's not leaking. There's and again, she goes into a little bit of detail and with discussion from her, some of this issue, we believe, is a building code issue where these shingles weren't able to breathe. Other buildings that they've put these roof shingles on are pretty much open from underneath, where the Hamilton County, we had to put ice guard, tar paper and ice guard underneath them, which may be an issue for to speed up the decomposition of the shingles that are on the roof. So she's went over quite a few issues in her letter here, and she's been in back and forth with me getting information. I'm still waiting on her numbers that she's trying to put together for a new type of roof to put on the building. And as soon as I get those from her, then we can proceed from there on which direction, what material to put up on the roof to cover that issue.
There doesn't seem to be any warranty that's gonna help pay for this, is there?
When we put these on, and the original purpose for putting these on was they had a 50-year lifetime warranty. And it's been 12 or 15, and they have deteriorated that they're falling off. First, we thought it was the nails, but then looking into it a little bit deeper, when Andy from Architectural Reclamations came out, it's actually the shingles are just rotting. There's nothing left to them.
Okay.
See, did we treat the building itself? I mean, doesn't that need to be treated every year?
The building was treated with a termite and a bug control, entire
year?
logs when it was put up. It was I'll have to get that information, but it was all done in the beginning. We don't have any bug issue, termites, ants, or anything like that. It's the deterioration of the shingles is,
Causing all the deterioration on the bottom of the house.
again, the bottom of the house goes back to a building code issue that, and again, I've spoken with
I have pictures.
Susan about this, about putting gutters up. And the only place there's deterioration is under the front door sill and along the whole 2/3 of the back of the building.
Right, yeah.
In both those locations, the front, we have a 4 foot by 4 foot front porch. On the back, we have a ramp, a handicap ramp, which was required by Hamilton County and ADA. Where the water is splashing on that ramp and back up on the building is where the chinking is falling out at.
Deterioration.
Right, so I started repairs on the front door, replaced all the broken glass windows that are broke. We still like to the sheriff's department was supposed to get back with me on if they found out anything, and I'd not heard anything back. I've got the deputy's number to give him a call back. And Bill had forwarded a picture, which we'd like to have a copy of the kids that actually were throwing rocks through the building, through the windows. That was actually forwarded to the sheriff's department also. He was gonna try to go to the schools and figure out, if he could figure out which student it was that.
He did, he made some effort, but he didn't go to that school, or that didn't.
Right.
Yeah, I saw it.
Is there still some work to be done in that regard?
It's with CIS now, I'd have to check with them. I know the officer that took your report, that was his plan, was to check with some of the schools and maybe look through, what am I trying to say?
Annuals or?
Yeah, the books and see if or show it with teachers, but that he did not have any success. And it could be that, homeschooled or something along those lines, or maybe we could learn from that.
Okay.
But that was nice.
I would
And
like to
even
think that
those
that's
pictures are
pursued.
hard to,
They're not, yeah.
They're
that's-
very
they-
clear.
At least the ones that were shown to me, it would be tough to identify someone.
Yeah, we haven't seen them. If we could get a copy of those from Bill or
are you allowed to give it?
whoever.
It's
I
an,
haven't talked to CIS. I know that report was forwarded on.
it's an investigation, so I don't know if you'd be allowed to have pictures.
Okay,
Okay.
Shoot me an email.
okay, yeah, I can get that.
I'd like to pursue this as much as what we can, because if we're trying to protect properties and so on, and then we have some evidence, we ought to push it as far as we can.
Yeah, I don't know that I saw all the pictures that I was shown, you certainly
Okay.
Yeah, I was told there was, I think, 4 boys on bicycles, and then there was one that was actually caught throwing rocks through the window out of those 4, so.
I had heard something along that line, but, and I thought it had been turned over to the police department.
Right.
Okay.
And we had a cleanup out there, March 14th or 15th, I believe. We had the log house open during the storybook time, and this month we'll be setting up some type of schedule for being open through the summer months here for 2021. And what we've done is we've pretty much chained off front door to back door, so that visitors can come in, look around, in one door, out one door, and be showing it right now that way, so that we don't have large groups and people gathering and walking around and the whole thing. So it's pretty much a one walkway in the front, out the back, or vice versa.
Okay. Anything else?
And then I've also got a signed copy of the lease that's been waited for.
Yeah. We've been waiting for that for over a month.
Yeah, well, I wanted to present it in person. Sometimes documentation doesn't get to the right person and gets misplaced like this did in the first place. So
Okay.
I don't know who should get it, and then that way, that's our sign, copy of our signed copy
Okay.
of the lease there. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I see that? I was here, and I want to see that sign. Yes.
My name is Carol Symmes. I live at 9972 Washington Street down in Camp Dennison. And I would like to thank you for once again holding a true public hearing meeting so that the residents may address you in person rather than by Zoom. I have been waiting for an in-person meeting to continue discussing various items, and I apologize ahead of time for the length of my resident discussions with you. In December of last year, I received an email from your staff attempting to answer various issues I previously discussed last year in your meetings. It appears that this email was not copied to the board members, just to Joe. So I am once again reviewing these issues as I do not feel this email correctly answered my concerns. One issue dealt with my public records request for timesheets for February 2020. And as noted in my comments before you on several occasions, I made many formal requests for this information to staff and actually to you. Your July 7th, 2020 minutes reflect on February 18th, I requested any correspondence between the administrator and you from February 13th to February 18th, 2020 on this matter. And that is a true statement, except for 2 things. The minutes do not refer to my request for the February timesheets. And what is not noted is that requests were also made for verification from your staff that all correspondence that had been submitted to me had been submitted to me. The minutes also noted I stated you were aware of her refusal to provide this information and you took no action to have this information provided. And that is a very correct statement. At that meeting, you were advised by your law director not to answer my questions. This request was again reviewed at your August 4th meeting, and still no response at that time. At your December 8th, 2020 meeting, I again addressed 2 outstanding records requests, of one which was again these 2020 payroll timesheets. Your minutes reflect January, however, the request was and always has been for February. Your staff noted you several times to you, had notified you several times that these sheets had been provided to me, but as reported in your minutes, these were pay core sheets and not the actual time sheets completed by the employees. So staff did not provide these records to me. So then on December 11th, I received this email from Kim. Again, it was not copied to you, in which your staff is attempting to fulfill this public records request. A request which was made in February 2020, and now 10 months later was to be provided. However, the request was for February timesheets, not January, which was provided. Therefore, this records request remains open. Now it's 15 months past due. So please provide me with the timesheets completed by employees for February 2020. And since it's been so long and since I did not receive any verification, I would like to again request that copies be emailed to me dealing with all communication between the administrator and the board regarding this issue from the initial request in February 2020 to the present, since I am aware that there has been communication after February 2020. The next issue dealt with my public records request for a text message stream in 2017, and that's the right date, 2017, regarding a resident's memorial tree issue. This resident made a request in April 2017, and all information was not provided to her as requested. So I made a public records request for this same information, which has been made again and again with no response. I mentioned at your July 2020 meeting, this message stream existed as it was shown to me by Mr. Bryan. Again, this text message stream included a topic which should have been handled in open session. Quote, your staff advised Mr. Bryan in the message, I have 1 vote for and 1 vote against. You are the deciding vote. This message and statement was confirmed by Mr. Bryan in an April 20th, 2017 email in which he indicated he had communicated with Kim that this was not proper and should be handled in open session. You might want to argue that this does not constitute action by the board outside of a public meeting. However, to me, it appears similar to what has recently happened in Cincinnati, and as noted, there was a board member who did agree it should have been an open session. As with my many other public records requests, I made the same request over and over again at various meetings. No response from the board, again, just from your law director not to answer my question. My question was, and has been, why has this text message not been provided to me? And has this actually been deleted? So back to your staff's December 11th, 2020 email, again, which was not copied to you, in which I am finally advised, quote, we are no longer in possession of that text message you are asking about. A message requested over 3 years or so ago. So first, your staff is now acknowledging that this message stream did exist. So when was this text message deleted? Why was this message deleted when there was an outstanding public records request on file? This message had to have been deleted by all of you because it's no longer available. So Ken, Jody, Phil, Kim, when did you delete this existing message, which was part of a public records request? We all know what a public record is. We all know that it's required to be submitted. But yet I'm still waiting for this message, and now I'm being told it no longer is in your possession. So from 2017 to now, where is this text message? Evidently, it's also been deemed, per the December 11th email, that there is no conflict with your administrator serving as secretary to the Loveland Chamber of Commerce. If she is a board member of the chamber, I guess I'm interested in knowing who's been designated to be the township representative to this chamber in order to protect our interest. The other part of this December 11th email was to advise that there were no expectation that the money from the wine tasting event was going to make the township whole, and it was a fundraiser for Nest. The comment in making the township whole does cause me concern, since one of the points I have made was that your administrator / chamber secretary took it upon herself without discussion with me to amend an invoice sent by me to the chamber for reimbursement of township employee time, and therefore the township has not been made whole, as indicated in the December email. This was in the amount of $735.88. Not a lot of money, but the chamber had agreed to pay for all township employee time at this event. I had questioned if this money had ever been paid by the chamber, and it appears it has not and will not be. The second part of my question dealt with about 1,000 overage, which I have concluded from various emails that the chamber felt they were to keep the ticket sales from this event. I would just like to suggest that any future type of these joint events between this government entity and a private organization has some better guidelines and understanding at the beginning so as to avoid any confusion after the event. But as I have stated at all meetings, my main concern is the apparent action of this board taken outside of a public meeting. I have requested on numerous times to be made aware of when you took action to dismiss this employee in an open meeting, and there has never been a response. Until now, in the December 11th email, again, not copied to you, with this quote, "No one from this office or the board is at liberty to discuss anything that has occurred in executive session. The board approved the agreement at their next available meeting in April 2020, an open session in full compliance with the Sunshine Law." So, I guess I should say thank you for giving me some type of explanation, which does not actually answer my questions regarding the process taken by this board and your staff. I am confused about the timeline that this board is trying to provide. A severance package was presented to this employee in February by Kim. This employee was told she had to sign it. This agreement was already and only signed by Kim when it was presented. This employee did sign it on March 5th, returned it, and was immediately terminated. And on this same day, Kim sent a text message to the employee stating, "We," and again it was "we," "have agreed to pay you for the rest of the month." In an email from your law director, I was advised that on March 6th that the board decided to offer a severance package. So if information cannot be discussed outside of executive session, and the board made a decision, at what open meeting was this decision made in order for it to become public? The severance agreement was signed by Kim in February, yet she was not authorized to sign until the resolution was adopted in April. So if this board wants to continue to argue that this action was legal for our ORC, then I just have to wonder what else you might consider legal by ORC. But here's my main problem with the way this board took action to dismiss an employee. This employee requested in a January 28, 2019 email for a meeting with the board president and township administrator to address concerns outlined in previous emails and messages. Concerns regarding borderline discrimination and harassment by staff and administrator. Not just issues, as was approved in your minutes. This request was per your own township personnel policy. This employee had been speaking with Mr. Bryan about these concerns, who I believe felt some issues were valid. Unfortunately, his term as president was up, and Mr. Beck became board president. I even sent Mr. Bryan an email asking him to speak with the employee since these issues were unresolved. As far as I know, he did not, and the employee then requested Phil to respond. On February 4th, 2019, Phil's response to her by email was to cite ORC 507.021 and stated that as per this state law, she was my employee, not the township trustee's employee, and any concerns would need to be brought to my attention for resolution. Let me repeat that comment again. You are not an employee of the trustees. So according to the December 11th email, staff noted that action in the executive session was taken by the board at its next meeting, which was in April. So on February 4th, 2019, she was my employee. And then in February 2020, she was offered a severance agreement by staff and signed only by staff. And on March 5th, 2020 was terminated, and I was advised on March 6th to the effect that she was a township employee and therefore terminated. So when did you not want to deal with the employment issues she presented to you over and over again? She was my employee. And then a year later, she became your employee with no discussion with me. You may have formally taken this action in your April public meeting, but the timeline and paperwork clearly indicates, at least to me, that this dismissal happened in February without your vote in a public meeting. Almost makes sense and makes me wonder if you were not aware of staff's action until after the fact and the April resolution was to correct the problem. The final response included in your staff's December 11th email was, quote, "Our attorney has already responded to your question on October 6, 2020, and has stated that the board was within its right to move forward and adopt the text amendments." I think there should have been a little better research before responding in these words. October 6, 2020 was the public hearing date for the land use plan. So I don't believe your attorney could have responded to my questions on the text amendment on October 6th, since the zoning amendments were not even being discussed. This public hearing was on November 3rd, and my complete outline of the ORC section dealing with the shall, and it's shall, it's not maybe, it's not close enough, it is shall. The shall timeline for the adoption of the text amendment were greatly abbreviated within your minutes. So much it would be hard for anyone reading them to understand my actual concerns. And I don't see any comments from your attorney in those minutes about my incorrect interpretation of the ORC. In fact, the only mention I can see are 2 comments within the December 8th minutes, which were, quote, Ms. Lee stated that according to our law director, we are within our rights. And Mrs. Lepenzi stated at the last meeting that we are fine with the timeline. So this board's response to me regarding my interpretation of the ORC timeline is very vague. The ORC is very explicit that the timelines are shall, and based on shall, I still believe that this board, your staff, did not follow ORC in the adoption of your text amendments. But that is for another day's discussion once I've received an answer to my questions. And I thank you for your time, and I still would like these answers that I've been asking about forever. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I can get one more,
Or 2?
too. Yeah.
My name is Richard McDonough, 9516 Main Avenue. It says Main Street on here. Been going round and round on that. I guess you need the phone number, 503-7710. I talked to Mrs. Felter today about my property, about cleanup and stuff on it. There was just one question about, and she has a picture here. I have a small business. I make mailbox posts, and I've been running it out of there for 10 years. I haven't had a complaint about it until just recently. And some of it was because, you know, last year with COVID and all this stuff, you know, I was doing some remodeling in the house. There was things that went into that pile out there. I couldn't take it down to building value to have it recycled and stuff. I ended up having to just throw all the stuff away that was taken out of the house and some other projects and stuff in there. So anyways, we just had the house painted and had a bunch of repairs and things done on the thing. So I'm just, the sticking point, at least for me, is because I work with 6x6, 8-foot, 10-foot posts and stuff. I keep them, can I show you these pictures or whatever?
Sure, sure.
And I work out in my garage. One stall there has a car in it, and the other side has equipment in there that I use. So I've been working in that area. I mean, I've spent a lot of time trying to clean the thing up, the area. You know, that's just seems to be the sticking point as far as that's concerned. Now, I know that there's people in the neighborhood that have boats, you know. I mean, I could put a tarp over it and cover it up. So I'm just, you know, but if it's a sticking point that I have to get it out of there, then I'm just going to need a little more time. So,
Okay. I think these things can be reconciled if we were to talk with the administrator and Lou Ann.
For sure.
Certainly on, and I'm searching for what's the real thing here. You feel like you've been ordered to clean something up, or you've been cited, or some such.
well, I haven't
And now
been
you're
cited,
looking-
but
you're looking for some relief.
well, as far as the posts, I mean, I pick the things up, you know, and I put them in the driveway there, and I leave them for the sun to dry them out, especially like the 6x6 treated posts. Those things, they're just totally wet when you pick them up from the store and stuff. And then they need to dry out, and then I have to go through the process of putting epoxy or something in order to seal the things up, and then continue with the process on the things.
Generally speaking, we like to work with residents. If something's brought to our attention, we don't just go out willy-nilly and try and say, oh, you've done something wrong here. Can you rectify it?
Right.
Okay, and I think that's part of the compromise that we work through the township. So we hear you. I would suggest that you talk with our administrator and Lou Ann, who goes out and looks at these things.
Okay, and I talked with her today.
Okay, all right, and maybe we can come up with some kind of compromise.
Okay, yeah, I talked with her when I got the notice about 6 weeks ago, and I told her then we just signed the contract, you know, to get the house painted, and then there ended up being a bunch of other things with it.
A lot of times, something's brought to our attention, and we bring it to, let's say, the homeowner or the resident's attention that they may not be aware is an issue. And that's a starting point.
Okay.
And then we try and work, especially if you're willing to try and accommodate some change or modification, then we can work through that.
Well, a lot of that's been done. I mean, it looks a
Okay.
lot different than the way it was previously. I had scaffolding there because the chimney had an issue with it, and, you know, I didn't exactly move along on that as quickly as I needed to, but, you know, it's done now, it's repaired, and just other things. But,
Okay.
you know, I didn't intend on things to get out of hand as it did, but there's just, you know, life, so. Okay, all right, well, I'll talk to her
Okay.
tomorrow or
Have this back.
whatever. But you know, she said I could come here to the meeting and talk with you, so, okay, all right, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
I think the thing, your takeaway here is that we're willing to listen, okay, and see if we can't work out something.
Oh, there was one other thing, and I've talked to all of you at different times when you've been campaigning. I live on Main Avenue, it's not Main Street,
Okay.
but it's there where the Dairy Farmers is on Remington Road. And I've asked over the years, especially when they were doing that, you know, fixing all the lanes through there, to get a crosswalk in there. I don't have any kids anymore that are, you know, they know how to get across the street. But there are other kids that come around from the other subdivisions, and they come down and
We're sympathetic to crosswalks,
Yeah.
Yes,
but
we are.
if they're on county or state highways and so on, we have a lot of problems in trying to get them accommodated.
so do I have to talk to someone from the county then?
Well, bring it up to us and we've got to start somewhere, right?
Okay.
And that's the first I've heard really is somebody trying to put a crosswalk in at Remington, in Remington, right? At 126 and,
In Main Avenue?
yeah, okay?
Yeah, where Shady O'Grady's is,
Yes.
that area.
And
but-
across the street is the Corner Coffee Cafe and.
Right.
Okay. I understand where you mean. It's tough for us. There's this traffic light and then people coming down Humphrey isn't too far away with the stop sign. That's a through street. It's all on 126. And we've been trying to get decent crosswalks in a lot of different locations, and we battle with the state and the county to try and get them done. Sometimes we can and sometimes we can't.
Okay, but, you know, like I said, the kids that go down there to go to the Dairy Farmers or the other convenience store down there, and right now, like I said, I don't have kids, but there's younger kids that are getting to that point where,
Okay.
you know, they're gonna start going across there, so, okay, just wanted to bring it up. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Anyone else?
Darcy?
Hi, yes, I can't talk very well with my mask on, so
Sure, you can take it
I'm
off.
6
Take-
foot
take it
away.
Yeah, you're good.
Darcy Havel, 9976 Lincoln, Camp Dennison, Ohio, 45111. And first thing I want to say is the project with the speed signs has been quite successful, as a matter of fact. A lot of people, including myself, have noticed significant adherence to the speed limit, you know, through the village.
It's a plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're not used to that.
It took a while to get them fixed. I don't know, is Bill
Yes.
here tonight?
Yeah.
Bill Pittman?
Yeah.
No,
No.
he's not here.
Well, we had some glitches with them, and I think that he finally ended up buying some more batteries for them. And now they seem to be working very well. And what was happening is that they were not functioning well when it was cloudy for a couple of days or whatever, so that the additional, and they're solar powered, so.
Yes, I was going to say that.
So the additional batteries helped out significantly, as a matter of fact. So, you know, generally, that's worked out, you know, beyond expectations, actually. The one difficulty is that we still have a group of people that pay no attention to the speed limits in that area. And, you know, I don't have, you know, electronics built into my head, but I can tell the difference between 65 and 35, okay? And this happens in the morning during rush hour and at night rush hour, and I swear it's the same people over and over again. You know, pay no attention to it as we go. And so I had some questions here. actually from some of the residents had brought this up. And by the way, the residents, people I talked to are, again, very happy with it. And I think somebody talked to one of the business owners up there. Was that you, Ken, that said that they were happy with the speed situation as well?
Well, I know that we finally got the speed limits approaching and departing Camp Dennison
Yes.
changed by, I'm not sure who did that, the state or the county? It's one of those issues where,
Yeah.
we can't control speed limits through Symmes Township.
Yeah.
As a township, but municipalities can. So,
Yeah.
I don't know that I talked directly with the business, but I do know that other people in other areas have touted the improvement that they've seen in Camp Dennison, and they want them, at least portable units, moved around and so on to try and get some slowdown in different areas. Okay. And my experience has been every neighborhood has its own speeders, and they seem to be the same ones all the time, to your point.
Yeah.
Now, 126 is a thoroughfare, so they're not all your neighbors coming through there that's doing it. But if we could get some kind of penalties associated with a speeder or two, maybe the word gets around. So,
Well, I had asked about, a license plate reader, and you said that was a problem.
license plate readers are not good press. Okay, there have been a lot of communities that have had them and misused them, and even to the point where any fines and so on levied by same have had to be paid back.
Yeah, I think
Is that right, Lieutenant
One
Tarr?
of Judge Ruhlman, ruled against them, that you can't have them.
Okay.
Well, I had a couple of questions that were forwarded to me, and one of the questions, concerning this whole thing is what happened to our empty police car? When I came up here, I counted 30-plus police cars out there in the parking lot, and we used to keep one, for 2 days every 2 weeks or so in Camp Dennison. And the point was, it was there at the time when the people, when the going to work, going home traffic came through, and it made a difference in the people that the habitual speeders. And so I was wondering why wouldn't any of these little things help? And it seems like such a simple little thing. Why we couldn't get that back?
We've had some different experiences. I'm not the expert on this,
Yeah.
but I know that we've actually had one cruiser down there that was teepeed and so on. It might have been during Halloween or something like that because it was empty. I also know that if we put one down there and it's there for a few days, people catch on that it's empty, and it doesn't matter whether it's there or not. So it can't be. If it's there, it can't be long-term.
No, it's very short-term.
It's got to be very short-term, and it's got to be random in order to make an impact.
Yeah. Now, we've got a couple of places. My driveway is one of them. They're at the office. The other one is where the old fire station used to be, the building with the garage doors. And there's also another party up the street that has a second driveway that would certainly be willing to offer that as well.
Okay.
Okay.
But you're right. 2 days is the max.
Okay.
But it seems like such a simple thing to do it, because the license plate readers are out. You've got to have some kind of enforcement, and I think that comes down to. The second question that I got from somebody was. Again, about the few people traveling against the posted speed limit, and what I've noticed is this is not like 42 miles an hour. This is like 60, 65 miles an hour. And I was wondering, how many traffic citations had we been issued in Camp Dennison so far this year?
We don't have those numbers at our fingertips, but
we
could find it.
Yeah, we could find that.
Is that right, Lieutenant Tarr? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can just tell you from, things are starting to get better, but traffic enforcement was one of the things that really took a hit during COVID. We just weren't proactive on no law enforcement agencies for, for a long time, we just didn't know if it was safe to even do. So yeah, numbers have been down since the start of the pandemic.
So can we do something about that?
Yeah, as things start to improve, you'll see more.
Okay, you know,
It's not just limited to Camp Dennison, it's everywhere. Our traffic enforcement, it essentially ground to a halt at one point.
and that kind of brings up, you know, again, I see from time to time, because I watch it on the video, so I can kind of pretty well tell what's going on. And, you know, this is a question that came up from several people, and that was kind of when the levy was passed before. And one of the things that we were going to, I wouldn't say promise, that we'd have some increased patrols in Camp Dennison, and the video does not bear that out. And I was wondering.
What video?
Pardon?
What video?
Well, I just have cameras on the porch.
Oh, okay. Your personal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I spy on
Nest or
I spy on the
whatever you
town,
wanna call it,
right?
yeah.
Exactly. But it covers the intersection of Lincoln and the highway, so it's hard to get through there without going through the video.
Okay.
And anyway, is there some kind of a policy, or I mean, do you visit Camp Dennison ever? Ever? I have no idea. It seems like that we should. The patrol thing has deteriorated, I think, and I'm interjecting something in here, has deteriorated significantly over the last 4 or 5 years. So I'm just asking, is there a policy? Is there, is it just always going to be uncovered? Is that the way it's going to be?
It should not be uncovered. It's part of Symmes Township. Okay. I think we're going to have to have an internal discussion. Okay.
Okay. And anything that, I mean, I've been trying pretty hard to help on this whole situation, I think. And I really like the monitors and working with Bill. That's really been very successful. So anyway, that worked.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Last call? Okay, moving on. Any correspondence to be discussed? Okay, moving on. Events and meetings. Finance Committee meeting is coming up on Wednesday, May 12, 2021 at 6 p.m. That meeting will be via Zoom. We have a cleanup day scheduled for Saturday, May 15, 2021 from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Home of the Brave, and I believe out on our website they'll probably have a list of things that will be collected and who will be there to support that cleanup day. Zoning Commission meeting will meet Wednesday, May 19th, 2021 at 7 o'clock via Zoom. Our storybook time with the library, which is now monthly, on May 24th, 2021 will be held at Hopewell Meadows Park from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. The last one, I think, was at Mead Park.
Right, they asked if they could move it around.
Yes,
accommodate
I think
more
it's a
people.
great idea to expose a lot of different people to the lot of different parks that we have.
Right.
Memorial Day will be held Monday, May 31st, 2021, and all township buildings will be closed for that holiday. Our next regular trustees meeting will be Tuesday, June 1st, 2021 at 7 p.m. here in this location so that we can social distance. Yoga in the Park begins Wednesday, June 2nd at 6:30 at Hopewell Meadows, and again on Saturday at 9 a.m. at Hopewell Meadows. Board of Zoning Appeals meeting Monday, June 7th, 2021 at 7 p.m. via Zoom. And we have a hazardous health waste drop-off Saturday, June 12th at 8 a.m. until 12 p.m. again at Home of the Brave Park. Well, I should say Home of the Brave Park this year.
Right.
Okay. because we've had it at Hopewell in the past, I think.
Again, one correction.
Yes, ma'am.
The finance committee meeting, we changed that to the safety service center.
That is correct.
Yeah, for May 12th.
Okay, so reiterating, the Finance Committee meeting will not be Zoom, but it will be on May 12th at 6 PM, and it will be here in this location for social distancing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kim. Okay, anything else to add? Moving on to old business. I move approval of Resolution G 2021-12, a resolution approving an employment agreement with Kimberly A. Lipinski as Township Administrator pursuant to ORC Section 505.031 and dispensing with the second reading.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Mr. Bryan?
Aye. Moving on to new business. I move to not request a hearing for a liquor license renewal for Kroger Limited Partnership, 11390 Montgomery Road, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45249.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Roll call?
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Mr. Bryan?
Aye.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Okay. I move to schedule a public hearing for the tax budget for 2022. Is there any date, time offered up, Kim? When do we have to have this done?
We have to have it done by July 15th.
Okay. So it could be in May or June. It all depends on when we're ready, right?
Do you want to do it June 1st with our meeting? Like before our meeting?
I would like to do that too.
Are we going to be ready on June 1st after our Finance Committee meeting on the 12th? Is
I'm
that going to
ready.
feed into this?
But
I'm sorry.
I'm ready.
Okay.
but You can do it whatever you guys want.
Okay, well,
You want to try for June 1st, and then if we have to reschedule, we can reschedule if we don't get done all the way? Yeah. Sounds
okay,
good.
tentatively scheduled, add it to our agenda for June 1st.
Okay.
Okay. I move to schedule public hearing for the tax budget for 2022, June 1st, as part of the regular trustees meeting starting at 7 PM in this location.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bryan?
Aye.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Okay, I'd like to open a discussion concerning follow-up from health broker interviews that we did last Thursday evening, the 29th. Kim, you want to tee that up?
Yeah, what do you guys want me to do next steps? Do you want me to bring 2 of them back to interview them further, or do we need to bring them back? I thought they all kind of sounded the same to me. I don't know if one was better than the other. Do you think one's better than the other, Kim? I mean, you're more experienced at this than we are.
Well, I told you my top 2 picks,
Would be
Haran and Assured Partners.
I didn't know if you guys needed to if you wanted to re-interview them and ask them further questions, like more in depth.
Okay, aren't we still looking for some information? We got some from Burnham and Flower as to what their commission is and so on and so forth.
Right,
Have we heard anything from anyone else?
It's all the same. It's all the same.
Oh,
It doesn't matter who the broker is, it's all the same. It's the industry that pays the commission.
okay.
So the health
Now,
insurance is,
We're paying premiums, and the 2, and we have a broker, and then we have a agency, right? And we're paying our premiums to the agency, and then the agency is funding the brokers?
yes,
So we're not paying the brokers directly?
No.
Except when they're offering us something specific?
right, like the HRA,
Yes.
we pay them direct.
Okay, all right. So it's all gonna be the same, and they all go to the same brokers, same agencies. It's a question of who, I guess it boils down to customer service.
Right, right.
Okay. What do you guys think about bringing them back or not bringing them back? Are you gonna pick one? How you gonna do that?
I think they sound the same. Do you have any advice?
Well, we had
We had 4 out of 5
discussions
showed
with
up.
each. I mean, if we want to bring Haran and Assured Partners back in for, maybe a little bit more detailed conversation, maybe we could create a different differentiation between the two.
Okay.
Well, the way we had structured that meeting, the 15 minutes per, they spent all their
Everybody
time
went over
basically telling
15.
you the same thing over and over again.
Right.
And no differentiation.
Yeah.
How do we get at differentiation? Anybody have a suggestion?
Could ask them point blank, what differentiates you?
Like I said, my experience has been it's all in the numbers. So it's all in the presentation of all the numbers. So, right now we don't really get that presentation of numbers. So it's done internally on their end, but they just don't communicate that to us.
Well, the issue
And-
is that we can't go out and get a price for insurance unless we agree that this particular broker is gonna be our broker.
Right.
And here's the
Right.
thing, they're not getting a better price than anybody else. They're getting the exact same price.
Right.
It all boils down to customer service. That's
If
all
it's-
it boils down to. Who is the
If-
easier one to deal with.
If you're in the same pool. As long as you're in the same pool, you're gonna get the same numbers, I think. But if there's different pooling arrangements between the brokers, if they could pool us with someone else or something else, and we run that risk, we've been there before. We went with a broker, if you will, that burned us. They gave us great rates the first year, and then because of the pool experience, it got to be horrible,
Right.
and we had to buy our way out. I guess
And I like the grandmother clause that we're in.
yeah, I'd worry about that. I don't want to give up anything.
No.
Right.
If they could port us over, keeping the same kind of, maybe that's what we do. We bring back 2, and we ask them how they're going to handle that grandmother or grandfather clause to make sure that we're protected. And then we ask them some of the board-in questions.
And then we either take one of the 2 or we stay with who we have.
Mhm.
Okay.
If we're not
Well,
convinced they're better.
We have customer service experience with who we're with,
Yeah.
and
Which
it's
is mediocre.
sometimes good and sometimes not so good. Okay.
All right.
Well, why don't we do that? Why don't we bring 2 of them back, of the 4, and see if we can't bore in a little bit more on them. And
Okay.
maybe limit them to a half hour each.
Do you want
20
to?
minutes. Come on.
Well, if we're looking for differentiation, we have to be able to ask our
Or
question.
they're gonna say the same exact thing they said for the first 15 minutes. We don't wanna hear that again.
Well, I agree, I don't want to go through the buttercup.
No.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
So can you guys do it like in 2 weeks? Like the week of the
Well-
17th?
We have a renewal coming up, 1st of August?
Right. And we can always push that out.
And that's another
Yeah.
thing we ought to discuss. Is that inconvenient for one of the other brokers that we bring in? We know, staying with Burnham and
17th,
Flower,
what we're looking at.
that we have a renewal date of August
Monday.
1st. How would we transition that to an annual basis or some other basis? So those are questions I think we ought to ask them.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't mind you ask them in advance, say, here's questions that we want answers to.
That's
Oh,
fine.
yeah,
It'll
we
probably
can
speed it
We
up.
just shrink it down
That'll probably
amount of
speed it
time.
up.
Definitely,
Okay.
for sure.
All right, so let's see if we can generate a list of questions, bring 2 of them back and set it up, and if we can do it in the next 2 weeks, that's okay with me.
So are you guys available the week of the 17th of May?
That Tuesday or Thursday, is that what you're thinking about?
Either day works for me.
Yep, same.
Okay. What about Ken and Jody?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
fine.
looking. '17th? That's a Monday.
No, 18
He said
or 20.
18th or 20th.
Okay, Tuesday or Thursday.
Yep.
I think I'm okay. We'll
Jody,
just
what
set it
about
up
you?
for whichever
That's fine.
one works for them.
Okay.
For us, and we'll try and make the 18th or the 20th. You just tell us when.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll work that out tomorrow.
okay. Anything else on that topic?
Nope.
Okay, I move approval of Resolution G 2021-41, a resolution providing for the declaration of nuisance for the property located at 9514 Main Street. I assume that that's
It's actually
really-
9516 Main Avenue, according to what.
9516
Yeah, what Mr. McDonough said.
Main Avenue.
Yep.
And authorizing all necessary steps for the abatement of the nuisance. Well, the way we left it is he's trying to accommodate and so on. Do we need to pass this resolution?
Yeah, just let me give you the background.
Okay.
We sent him a notice back on 11/16/2020.
Okay.
So he's had plenty of time to clean it up. We re-inspected it on 12/11/20. He cleaned some of it up, and then we re-inspected it in March of 2021. He cleaned some of it up, and then we re-inspected again on 3/25/21. He made some progress, but he still had a lot of junk in the driveway. And then we re-inspected it again, I believe, this past month. And we told him that he needed to clean it up because I know he runs a business out of his house, but his property's not zoned business. It's zoned single-family B, so he really can't run a business out of his house. He would need a home occupation permit, and he doesn't have one. So he really can't have any outside storage whatsoever. I know he asked to store things in the driveway, but you really can't store anything in the driveway.
Can he put it in the garage?
We asked him, we told him the only
He said it needs
way,
to dry.
he would be able to keep it is he'd have to move it inside, but he said he parks his car in the garage, and
How do you get past the wood pile to get there? I didn't see that in the picture he showed us.
it's a stack of block is what it
Yes, and
is.
it's-
'Cause
But
he's
you can't get into the
6x6s or whatever.
Right.
Can he build a shed?
I don't know if he's got enough, he probably does have enough room on his property, but the bottom line is, he's known since November that he
Okay.
had to clean it up, so.
Well, the issue for me is that you basically talked with him starting in November, okay, and he's made piecemeal improvements and so on. And this has never come before us until tonight. And he shows up and asks for basically more time or something. So, we can go ahead and approve this, resolution and show it to him and so on and so forth, and then ask him what he's really gonna do to accommodate it.
Well, he didn't ask to have more time. On the phone, he asked to leave it in his driveway and
Okay.
put a tarp over it, and we told him you can't leave it in your driveway,
Okay.
you gotta
All
clean it up.
So he's already had these
So.
conversations with you guys.
Mhm.
I wish he was still here so we could explain to him.
I mean, we can pass it, and then if you wanna give him another 2 weeks, I mean, I'm fine with that. But I can't make any exceptions.
What's the clock? What's the process and what's the clock?
We typically give people another 7 days. We send them a letter, like tomorrow, we would send a letter and we would give them another 7 days. And then after 7 days, we'll send somebody out to clean it up.
And we have the latitude to give him 2 weeks?
That's up to you guys. I mean, if you tell me to give them another 2
Well,
weeks, I
I don't
will.
want to set precedent.
Well, I give everybody 7. That's what I give them.
Well, I don't want somebody coming in here and say, hey, you gave him 7, and now this guy gets 14. So I don't want that.
I want to work with him, but I think he needs to understand that we've been working with him.
But we've been working with them since last year,
Okay.
so.
You know, there are organizations that, I know he just has a wood pile that needs to be moved because it's his
Well, no,
employment.
it's his product.
Right.
It's
product.
block is what it is.
Okay. So but there are organizations that if he needs help, he can reach out to.
Okay. All right, let's pass vote on the resolution and give him the 7 days and see what happens. You guys are gonna have to sit and talk with him and explain to him that we can't give him longer than we can give anybody else. Okay?
Okay.
So we gotta see some kind of progress and so on. Now, generally speaking, if there's progress being made, we kind of back off a little bit, right? but the letter is still 7 days. All right. I think that's the best way to handle it. Do you agree?
Makes sense.
Okay. So, we have read the resolution, and we had a second, I believe.
Who seconded it? Because I didn't hear who seconded it.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay. Jody seconded it. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Bryan,
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2021-42, a resolution authorizing Township Administrator to purchase a dump bed and accessories for a previously ordered dump truck for the Road Department from K.E. Rose in the amount not to exceed $70,800.
Second.
Discussion?
This was
Hearing
budgeted.
none. No, go ahead.
This is
Yeah, we
budgeted.
budgeted for it. I was hoping not to have to buy it until the end of the year, right before we were gonna take ownership of the chassis, but with steel prices increasing, we have to go ahead and order it. To lock in our price.
With fuel prices?
Steel prices.
Oh, steel, I'm sorry. There's my hearing. Okay. All right, any other discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Beck,
Aye.
Mr. Bryan,
Aye.
Ms. Lees.
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2021-43, a resolution authorizing the Township Administrator to sign an agreement with Environmental Designs to paint the interior rooms, truck bay, and door frames at the Remington Fire Station and certain interior rooms and door frames at the Safety Center in the amount not to exceed $15,007.
Second.
Discussion.
I'm pretty sure we got different bids, Kim.
Yeah, Bill's working on that, yep.
Okay. Is this, okay, not to exceed?
Yeah, we can
And-
change it in
and
the
agreement is
title.
with- Agreement with Environmental Designs?
Or we can just say to sign an agreement to paint,
Okay.
not to
The
exceed.
scratch it with Environmental Designs, see if you can get a lower bid?
Sure.
Okay. All right, Jeff, do I need to reread that?
Yeah, I have to make a motion, just like we did at the
Okay.
last meeting.
Okay, I move to rephrase Resolution 2021-43 to read, resolution authorizing the Township Administrator to sign an agreement to paint the interior rooms, truck bay, and door frames at the Remington Fire Station and certain interior rooms and door frames at the Safety Service Center in an amount not to exceed $15,007.
Second.
Okay. Then, any further discussion? Ask for a roll call on the resolution as amended.
Mr. Bryan.
Sorry. You made a motion to amend it, so we'll have to vote on the amendment.
Okay,
And then you would, then you would vote on the resolution as amended.
okay, so we just vote twice. First,
Yes.
First on the amendment.
at first, need a roll call on the amendment.
Mr. Bryan,
Aye.
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
Now, need a roll call on the resolution as amended.
Correct.
Mr. Bryan,
Aye.
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. I move approval Resolution G 2021-44, a resolution approving amended township permanent appropriations for fiscal year 2021.
Second.
Mr. Beck got that, I think. Okay. Any discussion?
We, at the request of the auditor's office, we went ahead and amended the resolution that we passed in December so that we can send them a revised copy of our permanent appropriations.
So the Hamilton County Auditor is asking for a copy of an amended township permanent appropriation level for 2021, which includes any of the changes we've made since we submitted it.
Right, and that's what I did. I went back through all our agendas from the past 4 months and just added in all the changes and just put them all together, and I'll submit them once you guys approve it.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Beck,
Aye.
Mr. Bryant.
Aye. I move approval of the following expenditures and authorization for the township administrator to sign any necessary contracts or agreements or paperwork. A, amend the following. Fund account number 1000-110-314, the general fund, adding $3,300 for final appropriation of $10,800. General fund 1000-110-370, general fund, add $250, making the final appropriation $44,250. Modify or amend following Fund 2031-330-314 Road and Bridge Fund, adding $550 for a final appropriation of $3,050. Amend Fund 2171-610-314 Parks, adding $850, making a final appropriation of $8,650. Amend Fund 2172-610-314 Grossi Park Fund, add $750, making a final appropriation of $7,750. Amend Fund 2191-210-314 Police Fund, add $2,600 to make it a final appropriation of $13,600. Amend Fund 2192-220-314, the Fire Fund, add $1,050, making a final appropriation of $4,050. Amend Fund 2193-330-314, Road Levy, add $1,400, making a final appropriation of $7,750.
$1,450.
Okay, what did I say?
1,400.
Okay, let me rephrase it. Amend Fund 2193-330-314 Road Levy Fund, adding $1,450, making a final appropriation of $7,750. Amend Fund 2194-330-314 the Streets Levy, add $350, making a final appropriation of $4,250. Amend Fund 2195-230-314 EMS Levy Fund, add $650, making a final appropriation of $6,250. Amend Fund 2196-220-314 Safety Services Levy, Safety Service Fund, add $14,350, making the total $54,350, the total appropriation. Amend Fund 2104-310-314 Lighting Fund, add $700, bringing the total appropriation up to $5,000. Correction.
You said Fund 2104. It's 2401.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me rephrase. I'm moved to amend Fund 2401-310-314, the Lighting Fund, adding $700, bringing the total appropriation up to $5,000. Amend Fund 2902-710-314 TIF Fund, add $150, bringing the total appropriations up to $8,850. And finally, amend Fund 2021-760-750 Gas Tax Fund, increase it by $70,800 to make a total appropriation of $149,125.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, I'm sorry, any discussion?
No.
I assume that the gas tax 70,800 is really for the truck
That's
bed?
for the truck bed, yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? No. Roll call?
Everything else on the 314, that's all property tax collections.
Okay.
I have two more expenditures on there too.
I'm gonna go get those next. I got winded going through that list.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Okay. Can we have a roll call on the item A, amend the,
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
Mr. Bryant.
aye.
Ms. Lees.
Aye.
Okay, I move to amend expenditure for Haddock's Tree Service to remove trees and trim trees on Munson and Waldschmidt Cemetery, amend the expenditure to $5,300. Item C, I move to commit for fireworks for the Fourth of July show in Symmes and Phillips Park to the Grossi Company for $7,500.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, I think the Rossi fireworks was really nice last year, and hopefully we can be a little bit more together this year than we were last year. So I think it's a great event to share with Loveland, the city of Loveland.
And it does provide for some social distancing and staying in your cars in different locations. They can view fireworks in 2 locations, both in Symmes and in Loveland.
Yes.
Roll call?
Mr. Bryan.
Aye.
Ms. Lees.
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
Okay. There is no executive session planned tonight. I move to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Lees.
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
Mr. Bryan.
Aye.